Hi everybody, I wanted to welcome you to British Literature 1 and take you on a little bit of a tour of our Blackboard site so that you can understand how it's going to be set up. So when you come in to Blackboard, please make sure when you first come in, I want you to go through the My Courses tab, and so you'll find the British Literature one and click there. I ask that you go in that way instead of through the calendar or anything else because it'll take you to this announcements page where if I have anything to let you know, I will post it here. I try to email these out to everybody to your Tri-C email, but on occasion I forget to click that button. You've already been here probably, the Start Here tab, which will have the syllabus and some other information in it. Please always refer back to the syllabus to find out what my policies are before you ask for clarification from me. You didn't have to buy a full textbook, you only bought Titus Andronicus. So our textbook is a PDF file. You'll get it from clicking this link. It will download to your computer. I highly suggest downloading this textbook onto your Kindle or the Kindle app, which can be put on your computer, tablet, or phone, or putting it into iBooks if you use an iPhone or an iPad, even though you can use a Kindle on those devices as well. That will make it read a little bit more like a book, and you'll turn the pages versus having to scroll. And I personally think that that'll be a little bit easier for most people. Here you have the course content, and so we have 3 main units in this course. We have the Middle Ages, we have the 16th century, the Renaissance, and then we have the 17th century and the Restoration period. So Unit 1 is the Middle Ages, which is what we're starting with. Click there. I'll have the objectives. These objectives come from your textbook. I alter them slightly depending on which works we are reading, since we are not reading everything that is in the textbook. And then below it, you'll end up finding links for each week of the semester. The semester is 14 weeks. So this first unit is the first 4 weeks of the semester. Right now I only have week 1 up, and when you click on the week, you will see each day of the week. So assignments in this class will be due on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. This week there's nothing due on Monday because that's the first day of the course. But inside each of those links, you'll see everything that you need to complete before the end of that day. So everything will be due by 11:59 p.m. on Wednesdays, Fridays, and then on Mondays. So if you click here, and I'm still building some of this, but most of it's here, you will see several different assignments. You'll have flip grids, which I'll show you in a second. So this week you have 2 of them, where you're going to record the first flip grid by Wednesday night. And then you'll have play posits, which are videos that either I've created or that I have found that are high quality, and they have questions embedded in them. So you'll answer the questions embedded in them, and that will give you points automatically into the grade book. If you ever see that those points don't show up, please let me know. Sometimes I have to manually ask it to sync. So for your flip grids, there is a Flipgrid app, and I highly suggest that you download it. It's free. But you can also use your computer. You will need access to a microphone and to a camera. For this Flipgrid 1, that's how we're doing our introductions in this course. We have no written discussion boards. And so you'll either click on the link, or if you prefer, you can scan the QR code, and you may be asked to enter the password, which is just Brit Lit Fall 19, all lowercase. So I'm just going to click the link to show you how it goes. Okay, so Britlit Fall 19, it'll take you to a page that looks like this. This is the introductions one. We'll always have directions for you, telling you exactly what I want you to do for each flip grid. But there's a couple things that will generally stay the same, and that is you'll have a minute and a half or less to record your initial response, and then you will end up responding to 3 of your peers, and I ask that those responses are 15 to 45 seconds, depending on what I'm asking you to do. I do have some flip grids that are the essential questions, and that'll be 1 for each unit, and those will stay open for the whole unit, and you'll keep updating those and responding to each other's throughout, and that's supposed to really mimic a full-on conversation in our classroom. So those will work just slightly differently. What you'll do when you get here is you will click the green button, you'll log in, and then you will record a video. If you have problems with this, let me know, but it's pretty user friendly. And then play, pause it, same thing. Just click on it and it'll take you to the video. Please use Chrome as your browser or Firefox. It sometimes gets finicky when you're using Safari or Internet Explorer. And if you don't see questions popping up every couple of minutes, then you are not going to get like the points for it. Each play pause it will be worth 10 points unless there's like a bigger one, and then I'll add some additional points for it. You can also use this link here for Flipgrid, and what it will do is it will take you to the full grid, which is like our entire class. And you should be able to see by clicking on this top one all of the topics. So it'll be like whatever the newest one is. I created number 2 secondly, so that'll be there as well. But again, you'll see how you have like responses, replies, views. You'll get emails or notifications if you ask for them for when people reply to your videos, and it'll tell us how much engagement we're having in the course, which is kind of cool to see as it adds up over the course of the semester or the unit. We also have online tutoring, so if at any point you feel like you're a little bit lost or you need help with something or help with writing or conducting research, you can go through this online tutoring. It's called Smart Thinking, only one T in that name. But you'll just sign in right through Blackboard. It'll ask you to check and make sure you're using the right things, and then you get to say what you want to do. So you might want to work with a tutor, or you might want to submit your writing, or you might want to ask a question. So you'll see there's a writing center up here that if you are writing a paper for the course, that's a great place to go, or for any of your other courses. For tutoring, you can put work with a tutor. And when you go there, you'll see that there's a lot of different options for this. And so you can click writing here, and you can choose whether you want to drop in and talk with somebody right then and there, do a scheduled session for the future, or if you want to ask a question. And so you'll see that there's like some options here. If you're finding you're having a trouble understanding things, which the first unit is probably the hardest just because the English is the least like the English we speak today, you can ask here. You can even share the pages that you're working on, and they can help you with that as well. We don't use APA formatting, we use MLA, but you can get help for that in this research and documentation. I definitely encourage you to like look around, check this site out, even if it's not for my class, because there's really a lot of different things in here that can really help you be successful, and your tuition dollars help pay for it. You want to get your money's worth. If you want to look at your grades, you're going to click check grades, and then you can come over here to tools. Anyway, so you can click through here. Course materials I'll take out because it doesn't make sense for our class. But StudyMate is another one that if you want to make flashcards or study for anything, our class or another one, you can create your own study games in that site, which is a neat thing to do as well. I also want us to take a quick look at the syllabus here. There's a couple key things that I want you to be aware of. I prefer that you email me or use the Remind app to contact me. I ask that you use the Remind app starting at like 8 o'clock in the morning and ending around 8 p.m. And those should just be like those really quick questions. If it needs to be more than a couple sentences, then that should be an email to me. I do have an office phone. I typically will only be able to answer it if I'm in here during my office hours. And even then, I might be talking to somebody, so it's much easier for me to keep up with things via email. If you want to talk on the phone, we can schedule a time for that, and that's not a problem. My office hours are going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 to 12:30, and then again from 2:30 to 3:30. Wednesdays, from 10 to 11, I will be having online office hours. That will probably become a link on the left-hand side of Blackboard as well. For online office hours, you can sign in to a digital room with me, and we can actually share our computer screens with each other if we want to. We can talk on webcam if we want to, but we should be able to talk verbally or by typing. I can do online office hours anytime during my office hours. Those are just the ones that I'll try to be there every Wednesday from 10 to 11, and you can just drop in. But if you want to schedule time another time, I'm totally open to that. And if these times don't work for you, if you are, working full time during the day, that's fine. Just contact me and I can find some time in my schedule after 5 o'clock to meet with you as well. My office is in SLT 226, room C. So the West Shore campus got a brand new building. I'm in that new building on the second floor. And for office hours, the idea is, drop in. I do love it if you send me at least like a remind text, because if I walk down the hallway to grab something from the printer or got stopped by another student or a colleague in the hallway, it's good for me to know that you're there so that I can come right back. I will respond to emails and voicemails within 48 hours during the week. It's usually much faster than that. In general, I will not be responding to emails over the weekend. Sometimes if I'm on, I will, but I'm not required to be, and I don't necessarily specifically open up emails then. If you send an email on a Friday, especially later in the day on Friday, then it will be responded to by the end of the day on Monday. Like I said, you need to have access to the internet. If you are only using a tablet or a phone, that is not enough to pass this class. You do need a phone or a computer that has that camera, video capabilities, and a microphone. Headphones with a mic, like the ones that came with your phone, are actually really quite perfect for this. Also, just like the regular old mic in your phone without having your headphones on works fine. And then the other thing I just wanted to go over real quickly was my evaluation and grading scale. It's a standard grading scale of A, B, C, D, F on the percentages, but I do a point-based system here. Your whole course is worth 2,000 points. So your Flipgrid discussions altogether are worth 30 points. Play posits are going to be 200 points total. Learning activities, just kind of your general assignments, will be 300 points total. You'll have micro themes, which are unit ending assignment or assessment. Those are 400 points total. Your capstone project, which I'll talk about much more later in the course or next week in the course, will be worth 600 points, which is 30% of your grade. So it's an absolute requirement if you plan on passing this class. For Flipgrids, they're 20 points each. I'm going to have at least 16 of them. And so if you end up doing all of them and getting 100% on them, you'll end up earning a few extra credit points. Similarly, play posits are going to be like that as well. There'll be at least 20 of them, and they're going to be worth 10 points each. So that'll get us to the standard 200. But it is likely that there will end up being more than 20 play posits, and any of those will become extra credit. The learning activities are going to be a variety of different assignments. So some are more creative and some are more traditional. I'm going to have at least 7 of them throughout the semester, and they're going to be worth 30 to 75 points depending on the activity. I may have up to 10 of those where you might have a little bit of wiggle room in whether you need to do the last few if you did really well on the first ones. The micro themes are your assessments. So there's going to be 3 of them. Each one is worth 150 points. So that's where there's some extra credit built in. There's a possibility of 50 extra credit points total if you got 100% on all 3 of them. There are going to be 3 options during each unit: a paper, a presentation, and a project. But you can only choose each type of micro theme once. So by the end of the course, you'll have done one of each. So you will have done 1 paper, 1 presentation, and 1 project. So if you do a paper for Unit 1, you have to choose either the presentation or the project for Unit 2. So you might want to think about your other classes. Do a lot of them have papers due at the end of the semester, and you're like, I don't want to be writing 4 papers at the end of the semester, etc. The capstone project is going to have 2 options. So these are going to replace a traditional final, and you're going to work on this throughout the course. You'll have 2 options for this assignment. One is going to be a commonplace book. The second one will be a course proposal assignment. I designed that one to be very useful to those of you who want to be high school or even middle school English teachers. Either way, the capstone project is worth 600 points and is 30% of your final grade. It's really important that you complete that assignment and take it seriously in order to get a good grade in this class. I will be giving full assignment sheets for both of those assignments later. You need to turn in your work on time, but if something is really going to keep you from doing that, You need to communicate it to me as soon as you know. I can't really help you with things if I find out after the fact. And some things like flip grids can't really be made up late because your peers need to be able to respond to you and have you be a part of that conversation at the correct time. Please make sure you log into Blackboard a minimum of 3 times a week. Try to turn in your work hours before the due date. When people turn in things at 11:55 p.m. and then run into an issue with turning it in, I'm not very sympathetic. So I give you that maximum amount of time just in case you need it, but the assumption really is that you're probably going to be turning in most things by 10 p.m. the day that they're due. You could always turn them in early if they're already posted. Please ask for help. Please attend the office hours, even if it's just online. I really think that that helps people and it helps me get to know you. Please take notes on everything that we read. You cannot get by just relying on Spark Notes. I really hope that you guys get to know each other using Flipgrid and any other pieces that I include in the course, because I want you to feel like this is your class, even though we're not all sitting in the room together. And then use tutoring if and when you need that. I don't really have like a participation grade, but I do want to make sure you know that I expect that you will be engaged in this course. And the way I can tell that you're actually engaged in the course is that not just that you completed a Flipgrid video, but you're connecting the lectures or the play posits and the readings and even possibly your own personal experience, and in a way that shows me that you really understood the assignments, that you were thinking about it, and that you're doing the reading. I expect to see that your play posit videos are completed fully. I want to see you sending me emails about the course, what's going well, what's not going well, anything I can do to make the course better for you. Attending office hours at least once is a great way to show that you're engaged in the course. And then interacting with your peers on your own. So in times where I'm not requiring you to respond to each other, but you're still interacting in some way. And then going to tutoring. Even though we're online, it's still a class, we're still a community. The idea is not that you're teaching yourself and just sitting by yourself in a room. So the more that you engage in these ways, the more you're going to enjoy the class and the more successful you're going to be. If you had an IEP or a 504 plan in high school, or you have any other documented disability, you have to let me know ASAP, because I can't do any accommodations until I get the official notice. You do need to have a letter of accommodation from the Student Accessibility Services office. I feel very confident in handling those accommodations. It's something I'm pretty passionate about, but I can't help you if I don't know. So it's another one that I want you to tell me. And then lastly, but really, really importantly, is how we track attendance. So we have to, by federal law, make sure that people who sign up for classes are actually taking those classes. And a lot of that has to do with financial aid purposes. To be marked as attending and still be eligible to stay in the class and keep your financial aid during the first 2 weeks of the semester, you need to log into Blackboard at least 2 times each week, so 4 times total, and you need to turn in at least one thing week 1 and week 2. I have to say, if you have only turned in 2 things by the end of the first 2 weeks, you will be significantly behind, because I have multiple things due in those first 2 weeks. But that is the requirement. If you don't do anything the first week, you will be dropped sometime after the second week. And even if you do a lot of work that second week, you're going to be dropped. If you do all your work week 1 and you don't do any work week 2, you will be dropped. So you do have to stay engaged in the course both week 1 and week 2. If you decide to drop the course at some point, it is your responsibility to actually notify the school that you're dropping the course. You can't just stop attending. The long and the short of it, please read through everything else on here, because I think it's really important. I always have some final thoughts on here. I'm really excited about this class because I went to London this summer and I took some videos and some pictures that I'm hoping to be able to include. And I just am excited to be teaching British literature again. This syllabus is an agreement, a covenant between us. I'm going to follow the expectations and policies that are in this syllabus, and I expect you to do the same. So if you're listening to this and reading this document and thinking, this is not for me, I am not going to be able to abide by the policies that Professor Fuller has set forth, then you need to think about whether you should stay in this course or not. Because at the end of the semester, if you're not happy with your grade because you decided you didn't want to do any flip grids, I'm going to say you've known from day one that that was a required part of the course and you chose to stay in the course. That type of thing. I don't expect that to be a problem. It usually isn't, but I always like to tell people that. I'm nice, but I'm firm. So please let me know if you need help and I will help you. But also please take personal responsibility for what you need to get done. I have a general schedule here of like what we're reading and what unit is happening when, but I'll give you detailed to-do lists for each unit each week, really, so that you can be a little bit more aware of exactly what's happening. And that allows me to have a little wiggle room if I'm finding that things are taking a little longer, or if we, have a really bad storm or something. All right, guys, that's all I have for you. So I welcome you to ask me any questions after you've watched the video. And I want you to just jump right in and get started on the Middle Ages and Beowulf.